Morning to all my Canadian fellow friends, and good afternoon to my friends in the States, and welcome to Sunday Brunch. If I sound weird, it's because my microphone died just before starting the stream, so I am on my headset microphone. I'm sorry if it sounds a little weird, but the show must go on. And as I look around the table, I look to my friends. Uh, um, uh, uh, Bobby, you're the one. You're all the way down there at the other end.
Oh, I am. Yes. How's it going?
Good day, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. And happy Thanksgiving to all my fellow Canadians out there and to everybody else around the world. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good to see you all today.
Yes, good everything to everybody in our chat room. Hello, and welcome to Sunday Brunch. My name is Alex. I've got Bobby with me. We are here to discuss the world of professional wrestling, both past week and future week, because we are soothsayers here. We're going to look into the future and tell you what is going on. But first, a lot of love from the comments already.
Oh,
Good day,
yeah.
Love Wrestling fam from Everything Pro Wrestling. Astrid, hello, friends. Hey, Astrid, tonight you can actually find her. She's going to be live tonight at 8 p.m. to do a Love Wrestling Reacts to Knockouts Knockdown. So make sure you tune into that. We are going to be doing a little bit of covering on that today, but for the meat and potatoes of the series of the show, look forward to her. We also have Cody. Where's the boss? Doing boss things. I mean, the boss is right here. What are you talking about? We're right here. We are the bosses. Dare Amazing, hello, hello. And the Wordsmith, salutations. And WrestleMania, good evening from the UK.
Oh,
Good
hey.
evening, sir. Wow, Bobby, it's you and me. Let's see if we can make this work. We can pull a good show out of our pockets here.
Yeah, the Bruncher Brothers carrying the hour here today.
Bruncher
So,
Brothers, there we go.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah.
go. I mean, before hey, I'm gonna remember before we go anywhere else to thank our sponsor, RK Athletics. If you are in the Alberta area, if I remember correctly, make sure you hit up Rich at RK Athletics One on Twitter, I believe, and he's also on Facebook. And there's also a website, RK Athletics on the .com. If you need some in-home training or some personal training, up close and personal, in person, in face, face to face, whatever you want to call it, get a hold of him. I know I've got a couple LBs I need to relieve of my body, so I should probably hit him up too. But yes, thank you to RK Athletics, Bobby. We're
Yeah.
going to start with you today because you are the man that knows the most about MLW between the two of us. So why don't you? What's going on with you in the world of MLW?
So this week, MLW for the first time ever had two back-to-back shows. They had their regular Wednesday night Fusion Alpha show that aired on YouTube, but the big news came out of Fightland, which aired on Vice TV on Thursday night, a big monumental time for the company, and two major title changes. So the middleweight championship over in MLW was contested in a four-way matchup featuring the champion, the young goat Myron Reed. He was defending against Aries, Aramis, and also against the new MLW middleweight champion, the Japanese buzzsaw Tajiri. Congratulations
Oh wow!
to
Yes.
Tajiri capturing the middleweight championship of MLW. Then over in the heavyweight championship matchup, actually this was title for title. It was the national open weight champion Alexander Hammerstone taking on the MLW heavyweight champion Jacob Fatu, who has been undefeated, holding that championship for well over 2 years now. What a brutal matchup. Hammerstone getting his leg absolutely destroyed in this one, but still finding enough within him to conquer Fatu, finally unifying the championships. Alexander Hammerstone, congratulations, sir. Well deserved.
Yeah, oh yeah. I saw a couple of clips where he tweaked his ankle there a little bit.
Yeah.
How's he? Is there any news out of that? Is he doing all right? Did he need to go to see medical professionals, or what's going on with that?
Nothing that I've heard of just yet, but I mean, Hammerstone's tough as nails, for lack of a better word there, no pun intended. And I'm sure he'll recover quick from this and be right back into action for them.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that's always a great thing. I mean, It sucks to hear that he had that little bit of a, twist. He came down on it pretty awkwardly. Hopefully, it's not as bad as say Psycho Sid, but hopefully, if anything, it's a speedy recovery. If he has to do any sort of medical surgery or anything like that.
Yeah, and speaking of
Um,
injuries coming out of that night too, Nicole Savoy apparently picking up an injury from the Alpha tapings as well too. So it'd be kind of a major blow to their women's featherlight division if it is that she's going to be out for a little while because she was one of the bigger names that they did draw in to start up this division, which they did debut this week on Alpha Fusion. Anyone wants to check out, Ashley Vox took on Willow Nightingale, and what very impressive debut for these two for MLW.
yeah, awesome. Um, how about we get to talking about the past week, Bobby?
Let's do her.
Let's talk about some of the big news coming out. Let's talk about the King of the Ring tournament that started off this past week on Friday Night SmackDown. We had Finn defeating Cesaro in a first round opening match, and we also had Sammy defeating Ray, which I think a lot of people are going to see the Sammy beating Ray as a bit of a surprise because there's been a lot of talks that Sammy can go back to Saudi Arabia, which is where they're going to hold the finals, I believe, of this tournament. Uh, have you been paying attention to the tournament at all?
I did not, but now that you mentioned that, that is an interesting point. If Sammy did go on to the next round, it almost kind of makes you believe that they've revealed too much already, that he's not going to be able to participate anyway. So they aren't going to advance him far enough to make it that way. So be interesting to see how that pans out. Finn beating Cesaro sounds interesting. Seems like I missed a hell of a match there. I love both those guys. And I wish great things for Cesaro, man. I really like that guy's work, and I
Oh
wish
yeah,
that he'd be excelled to the top sometime soon.
yeah, and for me, I think both Cesaro and Finn, pretty sure both of those guys need something right now. Like Cesaro, they they put him into the heavyweight division, over on SmackDown facing Reigns a couple months back, and we just had this whole debacle with Finn. Both of them need something big. I wish both of them could have picked up the victory in this, and maybe we could have saw them in the finals. Give them both a little bit of the rub, but unfortunately, this is the way it was seen and done, which leads us to in the bracket I'm looking at. It'll be Finn versus Sammy, and talking about Saudi Arabia. Cody says pretty sure Sammy and Saudi was always Sammy's choice, but that's always a conspiracy against Sammy. Yes, always a conspiracy. And speaking of conspiracies, with this whole Finn Balor versus Sammy match going to be next, maybe it's going to be a conspiracy that Sammy takes a loss here with maybe a cut rope, as as seen from Finn Balor before.
John
I mean,
Cena strikes again.
yeah, man, just coming out of nowhere. We also still have Kofi Kingston and Jinder Mahal and Xavier Woods and Ricochet in the already quarterfinals is what they're calling it.
Jeez, I keep forgetting Ricochet's even there still. The last
Yeah,
okay.
and that's a sad one because I want to see Xavier win this, but at the same time, Ricochet's been in the background for a long time now, and he could use a big push. But I'm also looking at this. If we have Kofi going over on Jinder, we could potentially have Xavier versus Kofi, and that would be an interesting matchup.
It would. It definitely would. And but at the same time, I'm not sure if it's time to give that one away either. At the same time,
No, not.
I
I mean,
understand it and respect it, but I have a really strong feeling. Maybe you could be right that I could see one member of the New Day going on, and that could be Xavier. That could be the surprise. And then don't hinder the Jinder. He might end up surprising us.
oh, not at all. Cody, I'm guessing a Sammy injury angle. Uh, eh, I would hope not. I would like to see if Finn goes over, let it be a true to nature, like a finite win, for him. Would love to see Xavier and maybe even Finn in the finals at Crown Jewel, but we'll have to. That remains to be seen. We also have well, there it is, the Queen's Crown tournament going on at the same time.
Right.
We had Zelina Vega and Tony Storm with Zelina Vega going over there, and then
Interesting.
surprisingly, a Carmella versus Liv Morgan with Carmella going over from this past SmackDown. Um, both of them very much a surprise because Tony Storm has only had a couple matches on SmackDown. You would want to push her, and even with Liv, like we've been talking about this, we've been wanting to have a natural kind of build for her, and this could have been a good way to build her. But seeing Carmella going over on that, I don't know, man. And there's been a lot of speculation that she had a sit down with John Laurinaitis. I read this morning about not fraternizing with the enemy, talking to Britt Baker over on Twitter. So that may have been something a part of it. I don't know. That's just it's a weird thing, It sounds. It's just it would have been nice to see at least Liv go on to the next round and be built up a little bit.
For sure. And you know what? Like Liv has impressed lately. She's definitely grown quite a bit in the ring and stuff like that too. So I can definitely see where everybody will want to see her go on. When it comes to Carmella, I think I've said it before. I think if she slowed down her ways a little bit, like just slowed down her promos, slowed down her in-ring work just a touch, I think she actually makes a strong heel character. And I think that I understand why they would go ahead with pushing her. I mean, naturally that voice can be grating on people, and I don't mean that in a negative way towards Carmella. She just happens to have a voice that some people have, that you can use that voice to get under people's skin, and it has worked so brilliantly in history for people, and I could see why they would want to push her to the moon when she has that natural ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as Cody is saying, we have Carmella versus Zelina in the second round, but let's not forget the other competitors in the first round. We've got Dewdrop and Natalia, as well as Dana Brooke versus Shayna Baszler. I thought Dana Brooke had an injury, an arm injury there, but both of those. I mean, I definitely can see. I'm sorry, Dana. I can see Shayna going over.
Yeah.
And as far as Dewdrop and Natalia, if they're going to be doing the finals in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel, maybe we've seen Natalia already perform there
Yeah.
a couple years back, so we could see her don the full bodysuit again and perform in front of that crowd. What do you think?
Now, wouldn't it be something special if Natalia did go all the way and win this thing too, considering that Bret Hart was the first inaugural King of the Ring of the WWF back when they started it in the early 90s?
Yep.
I'm a huge Natalia fan. I really think that she's underrated. Again, I mean, maybe that's the Canadian in me, especially Western Canada, being a big fan of the Hart family and all. But at the same time, Shayna Baszler is just incredible. I really think that she has not been used to her full potential. I think she is a great badass heel, and I think that she needs to really go all the way. I think she needs it more than anyone. And I think Dewdrop beating Natalia actually wouldn't be a bad thing either to help accelerate her as well, too. And Natalia is the kind of person that will give someone like Dewdrop a great matchup and have no issue putting her over and still be just as valuable to the company as she ever has been.
Oh yeah, and Cody doing a little fact check for me. Thank you, Cody. No, Dewdrop saved Dana from Shayna, and Shayna gave Nia and Eva the arm injuries. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Why aren't you here with us talking about all this? um,
Come
so
on in.
yeah. I mean, so we got some good brackets going on here. Some interesting things are definitely going to be happening. Hopefully, at Crown Jewel, they give us something that we don't expect. Like as of right now, everybody the big word around the office is let's play it out. And um not giving WWE the benefit of the doubt at all. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do and where they go with these tournaments. And hopefully, we get paid off. Like we've been wanting to have Xavier win. He's been pushing to have himself win. Uh, get well, quit your job then. No, kidding, kidding. So we're gonna go from there, and we're gonna talk about a little bit about tournament. Maybe not necessarily the tournament, because I don't wanna impede on Astrid tonight. But
Yeah.
some of the big news out of the Knockouts Knockdown tourney last night. Um, and I know Let me think. How do I, no, I'm not. I'm gonna skip right to this news because Astrid, I submit to you. You are going to be the one talking about knockdown tournament, but we will talk about one of the bigger news out of that, and that is the Iconics, the former Iconics, now the inspiration of Cassie Lee and Jesse McKay, formerly Peyton Royce and Billy Kay of WWE, have now signed. Not going to steal your thunder at all. They have now signed with Impact and are going to be making their Impact debut at Bound for Glory on October 23rd. What do you think of that? Like I believe I am not the only one within Love Wrestling that is a humongous fan of these two. They are probably one of the better, maybe even best women's tag teams as far as character wise, at least that the WWE had, and they're the second ever women's tag team champions for the WWE. To see them let go was a very much a disappointment, but I want to see them flourish on the independent scene as well. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, I think that them flourishing on the independents is great. I mean, congratulations signing with Impact. At least when it comes to signing with some companies outside of the WWE, it opens the door for them to work with other promotions as well too. So it's not outside the realm of them working within AEW, within NWA, within MLW as well too. And this is great opportunity. I think they were two of the biggest names let go from the WWE that I thought there could have been so much more done with them. I know that the two of them come from Australia. I'm a big fan of the Australian market and stuff like that. Anyone who's never gone, even on YouTube, go check out like Riot City Wrestling, MCW out of Australia as well too. That was a lot of places that the former Iconics spent their time getting out there, and a lot of the people that you see in NXT today as well too that spend time there. So it was a great market, and I think these two are going to light the world up as they start to go to other promotions finally.
I'm so sorry. It is just a world of hurt over here. Wow, Bobby, welcome to the worst edition of Sunday Brunch in the history of Love Wrestling. Don't ever give me the reins again to do this show. I don't know what I'm doing.
We're making it happen. It's
We're
mad.
making it. We're making it happen. Astrid, Impact is great for them. Yesterday, their main event was the KO Tag Team Championship match.
Nice.
Yes, yes. I think that if anybody needs to step up their women's tag team division, it is definitely going to be Impact. They have some great talent over there, and to see the Iconics being put into this can only build them even more. WWE made a grave mistake letting them go. They can only elevate that division more than it is right now. And even in the little thing that I read, because I read, trying to prepare for the show, Brie Bella was even confused during a interview. Like she was just like, I'm disappointed with WWE and their tag in the women's division right now. It's just like they're letting all these people go. They had the Riot Squad, they had the Iconics, they had Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, and they sent Mandy Rose back down to NXT, and they got rid of Ruby, and the Iconics, and a lot of these people are now flourishing outside of their promotion when they could have stayed with them, when they could have done so much more with them
Well, here
in the
brings up
WWE.
here brings up an interesting thing because you mentioned about Nikki Bella being confused about the release. This brings up the interesting topic that more than one former WWE superstar or legend has now come out saying, look, WWE, we've got a problem. What are you doing over there? Kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it makes you wonder, it's like, is there something else going on in WWE that we don't know about? Or is Vince just had it? He's going to start from scratch and try to build this thing back up.
We'll see. Yeah, and as far as this one goes, Chris, it is definitely a trip. We are tripping all over ourselves. At least I am. Yeah, talking about the legend that you speak of, we had Booker T, but more importantly, we had Mick Foley.
Yes.
Mick Foley lets me, this conversation lets me segue into another thing we're going to talk about right now. Is the GCW pay per view that happened last night. We're going to go over that a little bit. We had GCW Fight Club from Atlantic City, New Jersey. We had John Moxley defeating Nick Gage in the main event. And we even had Nick Cardona defeating Effie for the Internet Championship. I'm a fan I'm a fan of Matt Cardona. Did I say Nick Cardona?
Yeah,
I've
I know who
lost
you
my
meant.
mind.
It's all good. It's all good.
Zach Cardona. There we go. Yeah. And a lot of other, like, I believe I saw the Briscoes show up there.
Nice.
I'm not 100% sure. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
If they were, then them boys must have had a good time.
Oh yeah. Bubba Duke in the comments. Vince has lost his mind. A hostile takeover needs to happen to get him out. It. We've been talking about that for a while now on Love Wrestling, and we don't know if it could happen.
I don't think it'll
Um,
ever be a hostile takeover. I think it's going to be a full out sale. They're
he's
going to go Disney.
he's gonna be with that company. He's gonna be riding that ship until it sinks, and he will be at the helm when the ship goes down. I hate to say it, but that's pretty much at this point what's going to happen.
Pardon the pun, but we're all going to be riding Space Mountain at Walt Disney World within 5 years.
Yeah. Oh man, the day that they sign with Disney, the ears are getting added to the WWE Championship in some form. Uh, yeah. Going from there, let's talk some other stuff.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about Tony Khan. What the man behind AEW. Well, I mean the big man behind AEW. I believe today is his birthday, so happy birthday to Tony Khan if you ever watch the show. But at the same time, like, maybe a little bit big of a head because he's saying, "Hey, WWE, you're going to be putting on a 2.5 hour show next week to you know compete with us on Rampage at 10 o'clock. What's going on with that? If you want to, bring it on." And Tony Khan biting, maybe biting off more than he could chew. Uh, I don't know. What do you think?
Now, let's be realistic. First of all, we have to know that based on the ratings that SmackDown's drawing and stuff like that, AEW at this point, I don't think is going to draw enough to overthrow them. But at the same time, what Tony Khan is doing is just throwing a little bit at them. He's playing with them, and again, there's no harm in that in the realm of professional wrestling to have a little bit of friendly competition and basically throw that at the WWE, because obviously at this point they have to slightly be paying attention. And when he goes and starts saying these things, it gets under their skin. It makes them think a little bit. What are they going to do? And they also got to fear the fact that maybe he's got some trick up his sleeve. If he's throwing this kind of shade at them, what could he have in store for them next? And that could maybe start drawing in those numbers and eventually having them overthrow it.
Yeah, and as Astrid's saying, we're going to have a commercial free for the last 30 minutes or the extra 30 minutes, and we're going to have Sasha versus Becky. I think this is all very well and good because we're getting competition. And we've all heard from both sides saying that the other side is not competition. But when you have all of these things happen, when you have the extra 30 minutes, when you have the Snyder marks, when you have a John Laurinaitis telling a Liv Morgan to don't fraternize with the enemy, like, this is competition.
Yeah.
You can call it, let's call a spade a spade. Like, this is what it is. Like, this is, you are going head to head for being the top promotion that people are going to watch. Yes, the numbers may say that the needle is leaning more towards one side than the other. However, as wrestling fans, this is only good for us because we're potentially going to get the best out of these companies. We have seen AEW bring in a lot of guys, a lot of top talent, and it's been amazing, and it's been such a great ride so far. With WWE, they've done, I want to say, bare minimum. To me, it's just what I see. To top, what's going on over on AEW, and just putting another 30 minutes on the SmackDown, I don't think is enough. Doing stuff like they did at this past pay per view, having the weird finish that they had with Finn falling off of the top rope because it accidentally broke. Yes, it provided talk. It provided a hashtag. It provided chatter among the wrestling community, but is it negative or is it more positive towards them? You know what I'm saying? What do you think?
I think it's damaging towards them at the moment because it's you can't keep playing on this negative publicity or these negative hashtags that are created based on, silly ways to end a pay-per-view and stuff like that, when clearly AEW is doing everything they can to try to overthrow them. I mean, I'm gonna say impartial. I mean, obviously I grew up a WWE, WWF fan from the early 90s and everything. I want to see both companies do well. I was definitely disappointed with the way things were in AEW at the start, but lately I found myself tuning in a little bit more because the matches have been more solid, more towards what I would enjoy watching personally. So again, they're gaining while at the same time I tune in less to WWE. So now I'm tuning out from there. So something needs to shift if they really want to continue to ride that, what I would say is just longevity. Name, brand, and longevity is all WWE is relying on anymore. They're doing nothing to progress themselves. They're doing nothing to go forward, while AEW is doing exactly that. They're moving forward. They're doing things that fans want to see. They know who their market is and they're playing to their market. And they're going to continue to, especially when they bring in names people recognize. When they, linked up with Martha Hart for the Owen Hart Foundation, and they're going to have a tournament based around his name. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, anybody who is an Owen Hart fan is going to tune in to check these things out, and they're going to be exposed to the AEW program, where WWE, for lack of better words, doesn't have a pot to piss in right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm the same with you. I watched WWE for a long time, but AEW has proven to be a very progressive brand right now. We've only seen WWE has been staying in the course as far as everything has gone. And with that being said, like they need to do something. I mean, whether it be a hard reset or whether it be maybe even listening to the fans a little bit more, giving us a little bit more of what we want to see. But it's always a matter of like, is it too late? And that's going to be the biggest thing going forward for me, at least, is like, is everything a losing effort now? We can only wait and see how everything plays out, because one day we're going to have that aha moment, from Monday night where Tony Schiavone, they're going to have Mick Foley winning the championship over there. Oh, that'll put butts in the seats. We're going to have that moment to where we're going to see the needle point hitting another side more than the other. And it's going to be, I mean, what's this going to lead to? We're going to see a sale of WWE. We're going to see, Disney buying them up. Or we're going to see them fold altogether. I doubt that,
Yeah.
but you never know. Like, it's going to be interesting,
This,
to say the least.
the thing that's hurting WWE too is like somewhere like AEW is open to open contracts, workers working with other promotions and stuff like that. So not only do they get the experience of working outside of the realm of the television show that they're taping on a weekly basis, they're also able to draw in big name matchups for one-offs and stuff like that too. So you can build a card around, a top star coming out of New Japan, All Japan, coming out of somewhere in the UK or somewhere like that, anywhere around the world, and bring them in for, a top matchup against some of the best in AEW at the same time. And I think that international flavor only adds to the diversity that Tony Khan is going for better or for worse. It's working out really well for them.
Yeah. Astrid in the chat. Do I get WWE Mickey ears then? I mean, I would hope to get a show in front of the Magic Kingdom. We'll put Goofy in there with another Goofy character from WWE, and we'll have them go at it. Rick Boggs, there we go. We'll have those two go at it.
They'll end up using Pixar to do some sort of green screen matchups with people who don't even exist. We'll be seeing classics of Undertaker and Sting going at it and stuff like that, all in digital form here before you know it.
Oh, we're gonna have the Pixar lamp just coming in and just landing on somebody.
Stick to movies.
Yeah, add them to my collection. How many do you have, Astrid? That's an interesting. If you have a collection of Mickey ears, that's a weird one.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of collection, but so Bobby, we got
Still 30 minutes to go here.
we got 30 minutes to go here. We're kind with the let's scratch. Let's go to the bottom of the barrel. What we got? I got something.
You got some notes there. Come on.
How do you feel about one Cain Velasquez?
Cain Velasquez, hey, like, oh, okay. I just had to think for a moment who Cain
If you need me
Velasquez
to, if
was.
you need me to remind you, I can.
I know. I remember now. I remember some program with Brock Lesnar, if I'm not mistaken, like way back.
Yeah.
No, okay. When Cain Velasquez came out, I know that this guy beat Brock Lesnar in MMA and everything, and I remember this being a big deal. And he comes out, and I remember thinking, like, this guy just doesn't look imposingly threatening like Brock Lesnar does. Like, I know he's a legitimate ass kicker, and I mean, he'd tear my head off in 3 seconds if he wanted to. But just in terms of that look, in comparison to Brock Lesnar, it doesn't look like they're even in the same league when it comes to inside of a professional wrestling ring.
Yeah. So the big news is Cain Velasquez, I should say, is returning to pro wrestling. He's going to be at Triple A's Heroes Immortales uh, XIV. That's probably 14. I know my Roman numerals. On
Interesting.
December 4th, he's going to be there. And yeah, oh God, Velasquez. I wish. To me, like okay, if he was in the UFC and he legitimately took down Brock Lesnar, then awesome. That's crazy. Like this guy he took down Brock Lesnar. Sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But to me, when I saw him pop up in the WWE a couple years back, I'm like, wow, this guy is disproportionate. Big head, a big barrel of a chest, and tiny arms. Like, how did he beat anybody? But like you said, if this guy could probably rip my rip, rip three layers off of me, where I could be 200 pounds again. So,
That's the
you
thing
know,
about MMA, though, too, is a lot of them don't necessarily look like imposing threats and stuff, but it's the way they're trained and what they're designed to do that makes them threatening. The problem is when you try to translate that over to wrestling. Why it works for Brock Lesnar is because he was a trained wrestler. He was actually, before even his WWE run, he was, and he was a champion wrestler in college and stuff like that as
yeah,
well, too. So this guy is wrestling, and he then transitioned to MMA because of his physical size and his training and everything. Where Velasquez, it was kind of like, oh, we've got this guy who beat Brock Lesnar in MMA. Let's draw him over to pro wrestling and we'll teach him as he goes. Let's just get him on TV right away. And I think it was the wrong move. Whether or not he's been working on that in the meantime and the match or show at AAA will be that much more interesting. We'll wait to see. I mean, AAA is very interesting, great promotion as well, too. So I'm curious to see why it is they're choosing to draw Velasquez in for their program over there.
yeah. I mean, it's a name. Let's go to Cody. Is there anybody excited for Junior Dos Santos in the ring debut on AEW this week? Are you
Didn't
excited?
even know. I didn't even know.
I had no idea until just now. So let's go with yes.
Yeah, sure. Better question
Any?
yet. Cody, can fill us in. Do we know who he's going up against? Is there any information on that side of it?
Yeah, we're not going to wait for him to.
Well, of course.
We'll wait for you, Cody. Go ahead.
Yeah. Might be a few seconds here, but in the meantime,
I would be called to the office so quick. Why was there dead air? Man, what is there anything else that you want to talk about? Is there anything that we should hit here?
well, you know what? Oh, let's talk a little bit about Change the Game this Friday.
Hey,
There
thank
we
you
go.
for
There's
saving
a
me.
topic of good, and the best part is, and Change the Game features a lot of people that I've had the privilege of meeting and working with here in Western Canada, being part of the industry here. And there is a lot of great names to be excited about on this card. Love Wrestling Change the Game is going to be monumental. And again, you can watch it right on our Twitch channel here. And again, if you subscribe, you can join in on the chat. So there's going to be a lot of us there. I believe I'm going to be watching live. I'm sure you will too, Alex. And then hopefully, maybe, I don't know if there's plans for a react show after, but I'm really excited for this card.
If by the end of the day I'm not fired, I will definitely be involved in some facet. We have Cody. He's replying to us. He'll be in a tag match with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky against the Inner Circle.
Interesting, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And yet we also had Astrid plugging Kayla against Nicole at Change the Game.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yeah.
And
Sager versus Spinelli. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And we also have our own Chris Parrish going to be defending the Love Wrestling Elite Championship in a battle royale. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you can't make it to the show physically, definitely check it out on Love Wrestling. Like Bobby said, you can be in the chat as long as you subscribe, but the show you can watch for free.
Now, here's something. There's two guys that are on the show in two separate matchups that I've had the privilege of working with for quite a few years. Michael Allen Richard Clark and Michael Richard Blaze, both in matchups on this program, both very seasoned professionals. And if you guys want to get a little taste of what these two are capable of, I just released 4 matches from our Prairie Pro Wrestling Championship tournament that we taped back in March of 2020. Our main event was Michael Richard Blaze versus Michael Allen Richard Clark. And we got the I'm not going to say it on the stream, but the holy SH chant going before this thing even kicked off, because that's how excited the fans were to have these two in a first round match main event.
Awesome. And yes, Cody, thank you for reminding me that also our own Canadian Goose, honk, 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 will be in the match as well. And also Rick Jules, who is a part of Love Wrestling. Very hidden in the shadows, a very mysterious man, but a man with a dad bod nonetheless. And Astrid, yeah.
But you know what? Our own Spencer Love's going to be backstage correspondent at the show, is along with Alicia too, who's also the MLW interview queen as well too. So another couple of great Canadians going to be doing the backstage interviews for Change of the Game this Friday night.
Yes, Spencer has put so much time and love into, I mean, what else can you do? Into this show with Force Pro Wrestling. It is, this is going to be his opus, if you will, his love letter to the wrestling community. I mean, I know a lot of the people that he has on the card are involved with the show. He has looked up to, and it's that's a pretty cool thing. Like when you've got friends and colleagues that you want to do your show. My time in the wrestling, I always wanted to do a show on my own. I was wanting to run my own show, but of course, I don't have the capital for it. I don't have the money to rent a ring or do anything like that. But I would
try making a ring from scratch.
Oh yeah, I've seen the best and the worst. Trust me. So it would have been awesome to do that kind of thing. But yeah, Spencer has put so much into this. And when they announced that they're going to be putting restrictions into place, like I almost felt like he was defeated. But if anything else, he's resourceful, and he kept pushing. And we had tickets sell out that they had to open up more tickets for the show, which is an amazing thing. This can only lead to more and greater things for both Force Pro Wrestling and Love Wrestling.
Yeah, and speaking on an independent level as well, too, Prairie Pro Wrestling, we just announced that our return's coming on October 30th, and we had fears of our own with things being the way they are right now, that we weren't going to be able to run things, or we might not have a big turnout. But turns out within day one, we just about sold every available ticket to the program already. So I guess there's just that hunger for live professional wrestling again. So we're looking forward to a nice sold out crowd there here in Saskatoon for the return of Prairie Pro Wrestling. And yeah, it's going to be great, featuring a lot of the talents again that you'll see on the show for Love Wrestling as well too this Friday night. Again, a lot of these talents that travel back and forth. I'm from Saskatchewan, a lot of them out of Alberta. And again, you got to, from being in the business, Alex, you draw people from close by areas and stuff like that to continue the work, because it's not easy to find a core set of, say, 10 to 16 performers that can be there consistently every month that are definitely set in your own city.
Oh yeah, I was a part of the ring called the Local Boys around here. So we would get a hot dog and a handshake and maybe a water bottle for our trouble.
You get a hot dog?
Travel about 30 minutes, spend $40 of gas at the time, and have to pick up and just go and be at a building for 8 hours. And thank you. All right, where's my envelope at?
Yeah. No, it's tough work and stuff like that. And I applaud everybody at Force Pro Wrestling, Spencer, for all the hard work that's going on to put this together, and all the in-ring performers. It is never an easy thing to do, especially knowing that you're going to be going live as well, too. There is going to be an audience watching around, as well as the people in attendance. Again, you're not just at that point a wrestler that's playing to the people who have paid to come into the ring. You got to remember now that you got to play to that camera, because that is the audience you need to sell. You've already sold the people coming into the arena. Those people are sold. They're ready to watch no matter what. Now you've got to sell to the camera and let the people around the world know who you are. And that's going to be quite the task this Friday night, but a lot of great professionals that are capable of doing that too.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Wow, man, where can we go? Where do we go from here? We got a little more than 15 minutes to go, and you know what
I'm impressed we've carried it this long, just the two of us.
you know whoa, man. Let's go to a little bit of plugs of what we got going on over here at Love Wrestling this week. Let me pull it up here. And there we go. So this week on Love Wrestling, we've got Josh Robinson tonight doing the legacy of Sasha Banks. Tomorrow we have Poetry of a Promo. I'm not quite sure who that is. Wordsmith, if you're in the comments, please save me. I am so lost. I'm so sorry. Tuesday we have Power Out and NXT. Thursday we have Smark and Friends and Between Two Beards. Friday is Change the Game. So make sure you stay tuned in for that. Saturday, we have Love Wrestling Figures featuring myself and the G1 Climax 31 Reacts with Cody, Mel, I'm just going to call her Mel, and Matt Sell. And then Sunday, we have the Weekend Elite Report and Sunday Brunch. I don't know what happened this weekend with JPJ and Matt. They were supposed to do the Weekend Elite Report, but that didn't quite fall through, so I hope everything is okay on their end. Cody, still curious to know where you want to see Big Damo. You tell me who that is, and I'll tell you where I want to see them.
It's Killian Dane.
Oh, Killian Dane, there we go. Oh, man. Anywhere, man. Let's just see. I mean, all these great talents could go anywhere. This is a great time to be a wrestler. You know, you could stay here in the States. You could go, not here in the States. You could go to Canada. You could be a part of, New Japan. You could go wrestling in Europe, anywhere. I mean, if I were still active and I had the ability to, I would try and go wherever I could. This is probably the greatest time to be not only a professional wrestling fan, but a professional wrestler, because there are so many promotions you could go to, and so many big ones that you could go to: MLW, GCW, WWE, Impact, AEW. There's a lot of places, big and small. Just go, be a wrestling fan, support your local wrestling, which is what we're trying to tell you to do here with Change the Game.
I mean, logically, Big Damo, I could see going back to the UK where, he got his start and everything like that. I think that there's a lot out there for him, and the UK scene is red hot all the time. But at the same time, I mean, the greed in me would love to see him to go to an MLW or an NWA, especially MLW. I mean, they got a lot of great talents over there that I think would carry perfectly with Big Damo. I'd love to see a match with him and like a Calvin Tankman or King Muertes or somebody like that. I think there's some great competition there for him.
Yeah, Cody in the chat. His first post WWE appearance will be in OTT in Belfast this month, as he corrects himself. So yeah, just man, what a time, I'm obviously stalling because I'm trying to think of.
Actually, I just thought of some news I can drop as well too. And it does relate to MLW, so let's carry it on.
Breaking news. Let's go.
Not so breaking, but on Thursday they were announcing that they were going to announce a big talent coming to MLW. Now, in doing so, there was a lot of people thinking this was going to be Braun Strowman, because apparently MLW, his owner Court Bauer, did have some meetings with Strowman and stuff, but nothing came to fruition. They thought maybe this was a swerve because he did say a big name coming to MLW. So we get to the show on Thursday night, and the big news drops. Alicia too says that, yes, Will Ospreay has signed with MLW, and Will Ospreay is now going to be in a North American ring working for Major League Wrestling. So this was massive news. Will Ospreay, a great talent, and so many guys that just fit his style over there that I love to see. Him and Davey Richards, I think already is a match that I definitely can't wait to see. I think those two are going to be great together, or even him and a filthy Tom Lawler, I think could just tear the house down as well too.
Wow, that's very much a surprise to me. I had no idea he'd signed. That's one of the things I wasn't able to find this morning. Yeah, he's such a great talent, isn't he?
He really is. And again, it goes back
Oh,
to that Australian market. I mean, it just seems like Australians are phenomenal at wrestling. They do so well over there, and they
yes,
do great when they transfer over to other countries. They bring
yes.
a great
I
game.
know there's a gentleman named the Australian Sensation. I don't know if he's still doing it, but Craven came to RCW in Indiana a couple times, Revolution Championship Wrestling. He's a good guy, and he's come a long way. He was when I first met him, he was a very skinny, not really much of anything, but seeing him now, he's jacked. And there's a lot of great talent over there. A
Yeah.
lot, you know.
And a lot of them actually head our way here in Canada. A lot of them end up taking Lance Storm's schooling out in Alberta as well too. So we get a lot of that talent through here before they end up signing with the major companies and stuff.
Yeah. Cody Defoe, going back to Killian Dane, he's married to Nikki Cross, Nikki ASH, and had to fight through work visas in the U.S., which is why it's taken so long to get him to wrestling again. Well, I'm glad to see he be wrestling. And Will Ospreay is working everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
an
again,
AEW
with
appearance.
the MLW signing, it doesn't mean that he's
Oh
glued to
yeah,
MLW. I
oh
mean, they
yeah.
are going to use him regularly, but he'll be allowed to go just anywhere he wants to. And again, that means that we'll probably see him linked into eventually working with like an AEW or something like that too. So it's a great excitement for any Will Ospreay fans.
As they say here in Love Wrestling, that would be neat. Uh, so Bobby, we got about 10 minutes left, I think, to save ourselves a little bit here. We're gonna end a little early. This is
That's fair. That's fair.
we did the best we could with the two-man crew here, the
We made
Bruncher
50
brothers.
minutes. I'm impressed with the
Hey,
Bruncher brothers right here.
maybe I just need to slow down and talk a little bit more. I don't know. I'm terrible at this. Which is why you can find me on Love Wrestling Figures on YouTube.
Excellent show, by the way.
Oh, don't lie. Uh, Bobby, let's get to the plugs, man. Where can we find you?
Well, again, as I've mentioned maybe 100 times on this episode, Prairie Pro Wrestling back in action October 30th. I'll be behind the camera again. I'm also back on the commentary team. So if you want to hear my voice a little bit more, you can check out the matches we just released, 4 matches from our championship tournament. And I'm working on another 4 as we speak. And also myself and Papa Smokes just dropped a new episode of Ring Respect Radio. We reviewed MLW Fusion Alphas episode 1 and 2. And this Tuesday night, we've actually got Bud Heavy, one of the enhancement talents over at MLW, joining us on Ring Respect Radio. So it's going to be great to chat with him. And that hopefully will be out before next weekend. So check it out.
Awesome. And you have a YouTube channel, don't you?
Yeah, it's the
I've seen
Video
you
Bros
popping
Network.
around. The
I
Video
always
Bros
say,
Network.
yeah, I always say Ring Respect Radio because it's the name of the show, but you can find it on the Video Bros Network on YouTube there. And I won't bore anyone with the details of why it's called that. I've mentioned it on here after hours before. So
Oh,
it's a fun story, but that's about it.
if the numbers are correct of what I'm seeing in the corner of the screen, we've only got 2 people watching. I'm sure we bored everybody. So we
Fair enough.
can't kill the cow any more than we have.
Oh.
For myself, you can find me on. Oh man, I think I finally lost it. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter and on Facebook at EctoGuy87. You can find me on a little show called Love Wrestling Figures. This week I was looking into the Elite 31 Vader, Big Van Vader, big man. Loved it. I've got that figure behind me on the shelf. He's right there. I mean, you probably can't see him because he's a little dark. Yeah, up in the yeah, up there. There you go. So yeah, you can find me there. You can find me on Blowing Off Stream, and hopefully, you'll see me next week if I don't go into the virtual office and get fired for the lack of preparation for the show and just how terrible it's gone. But if I don't get fired, you can find me here Blowing Off Stream next Saturday. But you can also find me participating in Change the Game somehow. Will I be there at the show?
It wouldn't be Change the Game without the Bruncher brothers.
This is true. Will I be at the show in Alberta? Probably not, because that's a 30-hour drive for me, and I don't have a hotel, and my car it's probably going to break down at some point. So I will be on Twitch as long as we have something going on. I'm not quite sure the details yet, but I'm going to try and be there, talking about all the great action that's going on. So with that, I also want to say thank you to Astrid. She's still here, and to Cody. He's still here. Silent third partner on the show. Third and fourth partners on the show. Don't break the internet, Alex. If anything, the internet's gonna break me, and you guys did it. Did we? With that being said, make sure you stay tuned tonight at 8 p.m. Astrid, the lovely, and the host of Astrid Asks, right here on Love Wrestling, is going to be doing a knockouts, knockdown, tourney, and pay-per-view recap. Hopefully, with more guests than just two people. So yeah,
she'll kill it for numbers tonight.
She'll do a heck of a lot better than we did.
Oh yeah.
So, with that being said, make sure you check out lovewrestling.ca on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere that there is social media. We are everywhere. We are bringing you the best and the probably as you see today the worst in wrestling. Mel is going to be one of them as a guest tonight, so make sure you stay tuned for her as well. And we also want to thank RK Athletics for being the sponsor. He'll probably pull out after this episode, but that's to be seen. With that said, I'm Alex. That's Bobby. Hopefully, you enjoy the rest of the day, and remember to love wrestling. Da, da, da. Oh, there we go.